If you need to graph this function without a calculator, you should first consider the asymptotes. The vertical asymptotes occur where you have a divide by zero problem. So we got a vertical asymptote at x equals -2. Again, the vertical asymptote's the quick one. You just look at the bottom and you say, what would cause a divide by zero problem? And if you plugged in -2, that would cause a divide by zero problem. So graphically, what that does is at -2, we're going to draw a dotted line because we know there's going to be an asymptote there. A horizontal asymptote occurs with 3 rules. The first rule is if the power is bigger in the top than it is in the bottom, there's no horizontal asymptote. There could be a slant asymptote. Second rule is that if the powers of x match in the top and the bottom, that's a coefficient of those x's. But the powers don't match because there's no x up here. So this is x to the 0, this is x to the first. It obeys the third rule that if the power is bigger in the bottom than it is in the top, the asymptote's at y equals 0. So I'll just, so I can remember, I'm going to draw a dotted line with red to remind me that I have a horizontal asymptote at y equals 0. So we have 2 options when we're considering that vertical asymptote. Does the graph go like this, or does the graph go like this? To find out, we'll consider the limit as x gets closer to -2 from the left. And if you've never seen limits before, this might be a little bit difficult for interpretation, but all it really means is that you're thinking about numbers that are really close to -2, but just slightly on the left side of -2. So x equals -2.01 would be a good number to test, because that's a little bit to the left of -2. And if you plug in -2.01 up here, 2 plus -2.01 gives you -0.01. 1 divided by -0.01, that gives you -100. So that tells us to the left of -2, we're going further down to the negatives because we're already at -100. So that's what the graph should look like on that side. And then to do the same thing for the right side, you take the limit as x approaches -2 from the right, and all that means is that we plug in a number that's close to -2, just slightly bigger, -1.99. And if you imagine -1.99 going up in this function, you've got 1 over 0.01. So that's positive 100. So we know the graph looks something like this. Okay, and the last thing you want to check is the y-intercept for this graph. Where does it cross the y-axis? Because we know it's supposed to cross somewhere. To be sure to know where it crosses, plug in a 0 in for x, because the y-intercept always occurs where x equals 0. And you get 1/2. So this coordinate right here should be 1/2 for a y coordinate. But essentially that's a sketch of the graph without a graphing calculator.